Open source was born from a simple but powerful idea. Share the code, collaborate as a community, and build together strong projects that thousands, sometimes millions of people rely on. This model rests on three fundamental pillars: transparency, trust, and licenses. But the rise of generative artificial intelligence is disrupting this fragile balance. More and more developers use language models to write code snippets, speed up their tasks, or generate fixes. The question then arises, what is the legal and community status of code produced by an AI? Can it really be integrated into an open source project the same way as any other contribution? These are not abstract questions for me. As an active contributor in the OpenStack community, I was directly confronted with this issue during an exchange with other project members. A single choice of wording, should we label a patch as generated or assisted, was enough to spark a deeper debate. Behind this detail lay a crucial issue. Who is responsible for the code we produce with the help of AI, and how does this code fit into the governance and culture of open source? In that discussion, I explained my way of working. When I use a language model, I take the time to design my prompts, refine them with a tool I built myself, then collaborate with the agent through multiple iterations. At every step, I review, I correct, I validate. The result is never a blind submission of raw code, but rather work that I've guided, adjusted, and for which I take responsibility. My interlocutor then reminded me of a crucial point. In open source, it's not just about producing functional code, it's about being able to stand behind it, legally and collectively. That's where mechanisms like contributor license agreements or the developer certificate of origin take on their full meaning. Every signed commit, every signed off by in a project's history is not an administrative formality, but an act of responsibility. It means the contributor guarantees they have the right to submit the code, they accept it will be distributed under the project's license, and they assume authorship. These commitments protect the community from disputes and give confidence to companies and users who rely on our software. But if the code is considered merely generated, who signs? Who takes the legal responsibility? Who reassures the community that the code is safe to integrate? That is precisely why this topic matters. Yes, AI can be used as a tool, but in the end, it is the human who must review, understand, correct, and, above all, assume. It is this ownership that makes the contribution compatible with the spirit of open source. Without it, we risk opening the door to what some already call AI slop, mass-generated patches, poorly reviewed, unclaimed, clogging review systems, and eroding reviewer trust. Patches whose very nature threatens free software licenses. This experience also reminded me how vital it is to understand licenses. Too often, developers see them as legal appendices to be accepted without ever truly reading them. And yet, everything rests there. Take a concrete example, the commercial terms of Anthropic, the company behind Claude. They state that outputs belong to the user, who may dispose of them freely, including under an open source license such as Apache 2.0. Legally speaking, the problem is solved. I have the right to place this code under Apache. But the community reality is more complex. The law allows, but the community expects transparency and accountability. Open source relies on a social contract that goes beyond the legal framework. That is also why I decided to invest time in sharing this knowledge. I am convinced that learning to read, interpret, and apply licenses is a core skill for any developer involved in open source. Understanding a license means knowing what you give, what you keep, and how you protect the community. To support those who want to grow in this area, I created a learning space on Patreon, where I offer educational breakdowns of licenses and practical case studies. The link is in the description. I am convinced that this step gives real maturity to any contributor. Coming out of that discussion, I realized that we, as a community, must go further. It is not enough to hope that everyone uses AI wisely. We need to set clear principles. Declare the use of an LLM in a commit. Affirm that the author of the patch remains a human, even if AI provided assistance. Reject raw, unreviewed contributions. And above all, continue training developers to read and understand licenses. Open source has weathered other crises. The issue of patents, that of critical dependencies, that of large-scale migrations. Every time, it was our collective ability to debate, clarify, and set rules that allowed us to move forward. The rise of generative AI is no exception. This is not about rejecting the tool, but about integrating it responsibly, while staying true to what makes open source strong: transparency, trust, and shared responsibility. If I had to take away one lesson from all this, it would be this: no matter the tools, an open source contribution must always be assumable by a human. That is what guarantees continuity, security, and trust. It is also what distinguishes a living community from a mere code repository. I can help us code faster, but it must not make us forget that what gives value to an open source project are the people who contribute to it and take responsibility for its choices. My goal is to empower you. My goal is to teach you how to decode free software. My goal is to share my experience with you. So if you loved this video, like and subscribe. Each week, I share new insights with you. And you, how do you currently handle contributions where AI played a role? Let us know in the comments.